Welcome everyone to the 135th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. It's Thursday, September 1st, 2016, and we'll start the workshop with the Rome promotional video.
Event in Rome on the 9th and 10th of September 2016. The Council looks forward to open interaction with the public at the event. Come interact with the Council in your spoken language. The Council encourages you to bring your positive suggestions and solutions to the table on how humanity can move forward as a whole towards everlasting peace. In this way, the work of the members of the Council will become the work of humanity for humanity. The full package price for a single ticket to the event includes 3-night stay in one of Rome's prestigious hotels, daily attendance to the event, as well as breakfast on the 9th through the 11th, and lunch and tea on the 9th and 10th. Accommodations for this package is based on double occupancy. The full package price for 2 tickets to the event includes 3-night stay in a twin-bed room in one of Rome's prestigious hotels, daily attendance to the event, as well as breakfast on the 9th through the 11th, and lunch and tea on the 9th and 10th. Additional night stay are offered at €150 per person per night. For those who wish to arrange their own accommodations and who plan on attending a single day of the event, the cost will be €200, which includes tea and lunch on the day of the event. For those who wish to arrange their own accommodations and who plan on attending both days of the event, the cost will be €400, which includes tea and lunch on the day of the event. The One Planet, One Nation, One Race event in Rome. Come share your positive solutions on how we can work together to bring everlasting peace to our world. Keshe Foundation Ghana, in association with Ghana Atomic Commission and Ghana Spaceship Institute, would like to invite you to attend the New Dawn, Africa's Meteoric Rise in Spaceship Technology Conference, October 17th through 19th, 2016, in Ghana. Keshe Foundation Ghana's mandate is to build awareness and promote research into plasma technology. The Foundation is presently working with governmental institutions and other interest groups in Ghana to fulfill this goal. At the conference, you will be afforded the opportunity to learn about and experience plasma technology firsthand. The cost of admission to the conference includes 3-night stay in one of Ghana's prestigious hotels. Hotel packages include a single, double, or twin room option, and an option for an apartment or suite. Breakfast, tea, and coffee breaks and a buffet lunch on the days of the conference are also included. Keshe Foundation Ghana is focused on utilizing plasma technology to solve numerous problems facing the African nation. Come to the New Dawn, Africa's Meteoric Rise in Spaceship Technology Conference in Ghana. Learn about plasma technology and learn how you can participate in spreading the word about it. Together, we can bring freedom to Africa and humanity. And we hope to see you there.
The Keshe Foundation invites you to discover the world of its medical technology. Imagine there is a technology which can not only balance your physical body, but also helps you finding out the roots of your own disease or the one of your patients. This technology, this knowledge is already available, and as in every section of the Keshe Foundation, the knowledge is free for everyone. You can use it for yourself, you can build the devices for yourself, or the Keshe Foundation Manufacturing produces it for you, for professional use in hospitals, surgeries, offices or practices. In the following presentation, you will have a closer look at the essence of the Keshe Foundation technology, the way how the knowledge is transferred to medical doctors, the plasma devices they use, and cases from the doctors documented in detail to teach their colleagues. Since Albert Einstein, it is scientifically accepted that matter is convertible into energy and vice versa. This implies that both matter and energy must be the same by nature. According to Keshe technology, everything which exists in nature is made up of magnetic fields. These are the fields that have the two properties which we know from ferromagnetism: its attraction and repulsion. Opposite poles attract each other and same poles repel each other. All phenomena of
Welcome everyone to the 135th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. That was a preview of the medical video. That's a longer medical video that we'll have available later. So we'll enter into the main part of the workshop now with Mr. Keshe. Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Yes, good morning. Good day to you as usual, whenever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers program. Thank you very much, Rick, and everybody in the background who make every week possible to add to the knowledge. First of all, we go back to the first presentation regarding Rome. Rome accommodation is full. We allocated a certain number of rooms and they are fully taken up. The only space left is for the people who want to walk in. It has to be registered and completed by tomorrow or Saturday latest. The hotel room accommodation part is closed. People who want to attend the meeting for 1 or 2 days, that is open for another couple of days maximum, because we have to do a security check, and we close that as well. Let me explain something very important about the meeting in Rome. Meeting in Rome is not Keshe Foundation meeting, is Universal Council meeting. Universal Council is what we have set up that covers what we know presently as work of the United Nations. United Nations has a very big pitfall, and that is grouping against each other and grouping together. One of the biggest pitfalls with the United Nations is that United States and United Kingdom have always carried what they wanted through because of what is known as Commonwealth countries. Commonwealth countries, which are literally ruled by the Queen of England, always vote in line with UK. So they always carry 35–40% of the votes anyway, and they usually carry their mandates that way. Now, we've seen a lot of injustices in the work of United Nations this way, as they wanted. With this process, this stops. It's one language, one concern, one development. And secondly, the work of the Universal Council is not to solve or get involved in, but is to promote peace and activities which makes life comfortable for man, to create the environment that it can be peaceful coexistence. Nowadays we speak English, or we are from English speaking background countries, but we are spread across the world. Doesn't matter if you're in China, if you're an Englishman, you have no voice because you're in China. With this way, even you live in China as an Englishman, you still have a voice through your council. And the voice comes in what is to benefit the humanity, not just one part of it. So the Universal Council meetings will be updated in a way. They will start meeting in a coming time on regular basis, 4 or 5 times a year. We have started the structure in Dubai. This is the second phase of it. We announced the Universal Council meeting in the next few weeks for the next session. And as we said, we are looking for a nation. where we can establish headquarters, permanent headquarters in that nation for the Keshe Foundation. There is a possibility we have found a nation or two nations who might participate on islands. And in that way, your councils meet on regular basis without announcements, which means they can gather together whenever they need, or they work together whenever they need to. We have the councillors, which are the heads of a language, and we have council supporters, which means you support your councils, does not matter in one language, but in any language you like. But whatever is needed to achieve peace and maintain peace and a peaceful coexistence between each other. In this conference, I have no position, so I don't need to attend because it's a council's meeting. I'm not a member of the council, but I can be there, or you can be there whenever you need to listen, to absorb, and put solutions when the discussion time comes with the councils. So those of you who have, or you think you're coming to the council meeting to see something, the Universal Council is just for them to speak their mind, to put their process they want to see, and in discussion as a group of councillors, no one has a say in it. They decide in how they want their process of peace to be seen, to develop. Nobody carries a vote. So this is what this council meeting is, and it'll be from now on. In a way, we support the council through our souls and through our actions in a peaceful way of doing it, not going there because they'll have a majority, they carry vote. They don't carry any vote. They have no voting rights. None of the councils have. They can say what they wish, and their wish becomes their command. And the more councillors support a wish of a council, the more effective it will work. You will see this because you're not used to it. It works much better than voting and putting rules and regulations down, because it's acceptance of the soul of the man. In the time to come, when a man is in space, will understand the work of these councils much, much easier, because they can interact with it, they can work with it. So I was told, would we attend the council meeting? We don't need to, because it's not my job. I'm a head of the Keshe Foundation, not head of the council. General Secretary of the Council, which is Sandy, she is the organizer, she is in charge of seeing the process through. And for the next council meeting, the Universal Council and the team which is getting established around it are responsible to make these events. There is no need for, what do you call it, Keshe Foundation support, even though they get funded and financed by the Keshe Foundation for their work. So in that process, if you come to Rome, you just become a listener, unless there are some 25, 26 council members which have already been accepted. They were there to discuss their position in respect to what they wish to see to develop at the first stages of the Keshe Foundation work of the Universal Council, how they expect the foundation supporters to be. It's not a closed door discussion, it's open, but we don't put it on the internet, and it's open only to the council. Some of them are in their own countries, they cannot travel. So they're live on Zoom, or they can participate on Zoom. These council meetings are not a stage for any kind of presentation. These are the stages for the councillors to bring the wishes of the man of peace into the action, and into actually becoming positive work. So those of you who expect to come and see, or you thought you come and see, you can come and see the future of the work of the humanity. That's for sure, you will see. But there'll be nothing else more. I have no reason to be there, and so we don't expect to be present, but their work will be, at the end of the day, will be released, what has been the wishes of the council. Most probably the following Thursday after the council meeting, we will see the report by the what we call the General Secretary, that what has been the wishes of the members and how humanity can fulfill that wish as they reach the soul of the man. In respect to the Ghana is a full presentation with the Ghana Atomic. It is organized by the Ghanaian Keshe Foundation with Atomic Energy of Ghana. We do a lot of, it's totally technical presentation, it's totally scientific development, it's paper submission. If you want to submit some papers, you can submit on the fringes of the conference, which is a 3-day conference. It can be released or can be brought in. If you develop something in nanotechnology of the Keshe Foundation or in any shape or form, you can participate and you can come in, and that development allows you, that gives you a platform to be able to share knowledge and show. So this is the position with the Ghana. In respect to the medical teaching, the medical teaching will carry on in 2 or 3 weeks time when we can start back teaching again. And we are announcing a new development. Through the trials, we have seen a development which is very positive, and we are looking for, these are the doctors who can submit 4 patients. We are looking for 4 patients across the world. 2 patients to be terminally with cancer with no point of return. We are looking with 1 case of cancer, which is at the moment single. It doesn't show itself as a secondary cancer anywhere else. And we are looking for people who've been treated with other processes of cancer therapy that they can be tested. We have developed the technology, and that process we have managed only up to now to produce enough material for 4 patients around the world. If you're a doctor, contact doctors at Keshe Foundation. We will consider, and we're just waiting for the final confirmation of the acceptance of the transmission of the material, to look into the process of 30 injections done by the doctors, by the physicians, in the cases of terminal cancer, which there is no hope, and we want to see the outcome. These 4 cases, we are looking for doctors to volunteer their patients. We have doctors at the Keshe Foundation, doctors. If you have cases which you want us to consider, or if you're a doctor who have a case of what we call no return, where everything has been tested, we've developed the technology and we have produced enough material for 4 patients at the moment. And we would like to test this. If your patients volunteer, please contact doctors at Spaceship Institute and we will respond. The medicine, what we call, they have used, maybe in chemotherapy or whatever, is irrelevant. We do not consider it. The process is that we supply the doctors to monitor the, what you call, the influence of this 2 milliliter injection. It's been developed in a specific way for this purpose. We would like to see what this, after 30 days, as doctors you release to the what you call the medical team of the Keshe Foundation. Positive, negative, how positive, what we see, and this is important for us. Because if this process is correct, which we think is, because it's been applied and tests are positive, now we're going on these 4 trial cases, we are ready to release materials to doctors to supervise, to check. We are in the process of development of the same technology with a hospital in Europe. Then we can trial these things in the hospital. But we would like to have it internationally, worldwide, to see how the response shall be, how the results shall be. And as within 30 days we know the outcome, we will stand very positive that how things will go and how the process will reverse cancers. We have, and we see now, the 3rd nation in the European continent announcing and asking its citizens to stockpile water and food for emergency. Germany was the first one. Finland has announced this week the same. So the governments in Europe expect that there can be a crisis. The government expects a shortage of food and water, and if we look into the process, there is a high possibility. Why Western European nations are taking this position one by one slowly is that, as we know, most of the Western Europeans are relying on a gas pipeline from Russia. If the situation in Ukraine gets worse, there's a high possibility that the energy supply will be cut off, and then the crisis will run into a speculation of what this might be and what it is, and the governments are trying to cover themselves. Water, because one of the first things will be shut off will be power generators to the pumps and the waters, and the food, and the rest of it, which we will see. Understand what we advised last week to the Italian disaster condition and follow the same procedure. The process is keep as much gas as you can as CO2, CH3, copper oxide, and zinc oxide. You have access to water anywhere in these countries. Rivers, connection to anything, ponds, whatever. These copper oxide gas water plasmas are purification systems. So you can purify the water. The CH3 is your food line for the energy, as we explained. You can use a huge amount of the CO2 for different kind of application. The zinc oxide is for your emotional concern. Therefore, it's very easy. First of all, we have seen and we see a further development in the release of the power generators. We will release the power generator blueprint to the factories and then onto the public. The new solid state without motors, we are still progressing, developing, and at this moment we are in the Innovation Center working without the pump. We have done without the pump at this moment, and we have done without the what you call the compressors. Once we complete this, hopefully within the next week or so, the manufacturing production for the power generators will stop. We change the process that we will not release anything regarding the solid state power except to what we have agreed with the Chinese government. Our work very much connects to how we see the behavior and the progress of our development with the Chinese. We have agreed with the Chinese government officials that we release 4 to 4 groups in China the blueprint of the new generator. They simultaneously have 24 hours to replicate it and submit it to the Chinese leadership and to the Chinese government. Upon the working of that confirmation outside the Keshe Foundation, then it will be released at 6 locations around the world that it can be replicated. There is a reason we released to Chinese government is because of our respect for the leadership and what we have agreed on the terms of our agreement. Then, when the 6 positions around the world confirm the replication, we will show the system on one of the teachings, working system in 10 locations. We have asked the people not to release information. We have seen a release of information by Armand to Arizona, which was not supposed to be done. but Arizona has tested it as part of the development, and they have already released part of the technology. This should have not taken place. The process is very simple. What we have done, the Arizona group has taken the part of the development of the solid state, which is a looping exactly as of the pumps using two maglev system, and they have reduced the energy consumption by 70%. They have videoed it, you can see it. Those of you in United States who have the maglev units can apply this and you will see it'll apply. But this is not a generator. This is the application of further reduction for what we've seen in some nations, people could not see reduction. We have to reduce the power to be able to use a lower power to be able to power. What this means, we reduce the power from 100% to 70. Now it's easier to supply the 70% power than 100% power. And this is what the generators will supply. John Bevan has copied the system the way Arman has told them. You can see it. It's a loop system. It's a loop system as you see in the blueprint of the generator, where you have two compressors, generators. They have put two maglev units in loop, which is positive of one to the negative of the other one, negative of one to the positive of the other one, which is what you see in the blueprint. If you go on the blueprint and look at compressor A and B, and you listen to the teaching of last week, we said that these compressors have a generator inside it, which is a copper winding. That's all the generators are. So the two compressors have been replaced by two stacker units without anything else. So in that process, you see the reduction. The rest of the system is a power generator system, which is looped. In the progress of the development of the generator, we have added, we made it much more simpler way. But if you have two maglev system and you can connect it in a loop, you will see the same process of the power generator reduction as the two compressors.
Mr. Kesh, do you want me to show that video or shall we not?
Yes, John
Okay.
Bevan has released it to Rick, so we show it.
Okay, just get it set up in live stream. It's a tall, narrow video. Okay, here we go.
Lost the video, Rick.
Yeah. Think I need to do share the sound here and try to reshare the screen. So let's do that.
I don't know if there was sound on that video.
Yeah, there is. Here we go. Let's try it again. Is that okay?
The total power consumption that we're going to put on the maglev units that we've connected together.
I can share it if you like, Rick.
Arman has a copy of it, they can share.
Okay, we're going to show the total power consumption that we're going to put on the maglev units that we've connected together. So we're going to start by plugging in a small fan. A larger fan, this will make a lot of noise. And a heater on maximum. Okay. So that's the load that we're going to hook into our magravs. It was 160 units, 160 volts. Okay, so now we're going to hook this into our magrav unit.
This one. To the wall.
Am I coming down here, Paul? Which one?
Yeah, you know that one.
This one?
And this one is for the that one, total long. So now we plug into.
Hold on, I need to get this over here. Okay, so let's look at the configuration for the way we got it set up. We have two magrav units here, and what we've done is we've wired them together, except we've taken the plus and connected it to the minus, and the minus and connected it to plus, and we did the same thing over on that side. So now when we look at the wall, we're showing 120 volts.
What?
So 120 watts. Now we haven't got any power on turned on it yet. Now we're going to start with the small fan. Oops.
Okay.
Okay, there it goes. Somebody switched off the electrical switch. Okay, so with the small fan, we go from 120 down to 110. Now we're going to go with the big fan on maximum. This is going to be the total. Remember, before the total load was 1160 watts. Here we go. Watch what happens to the meter when we do the large fan on high. So we go down to 8.6 watts. Now I'm going to turn the hair dryer on maximum. Run about 318 watts. Okay, and that compares to the 1160 that we had with the
800 saving, 800 watts.
800 watt savings. Okay, that's what we're doing here in Arizona.
Arman, you're in the background. Do you want to speak about this?
No, it's yes, Mr. Kish. This is very simple, you know, for people to just save 75, 80%. But, you know, you can connect it differently too. Anyway, I just want to release it. Thank you, Mr. Kish.
Thank you, Arman. This is the process which is added. What we see is the process of developing the system in a way to reduce the energy enough that we can further reduce the power demand and we can run a thing with a very small power. This is how we're going into a solid state without any pumps and any capacitors or body compressors. But the process is what is designed to be a loop system, and in the solid state section we we've developed this because it allows the same process but with lesser friction, which means you have no mechanical friction or no electron friction. It's all on the superconductors with a nano coating in the maglev systems. Those of you who have two maglev units or you produce two maglev units, you can do the same thing, connect them, your magnetical to gravitational, at a point of the lead of the energy supply to them, and you take your output from it as normal, and you see the reduction on your maglev system. This is part of the development which we carry on with, and then in the coming time you will see the flight system coming through the same process. The development of the technology in the energy side, in the process of teaching and understanding, will surpass this in a few weeks' time. We are working with different groups in development, and in a coming time we will deliver systems which does not even need maglevs, but is an interim till more and more people understand. The process is manipulation of the connection. Is not developing anymore, but start manipulating the connection between different systems. And we see the more we manipulate, the bigger differences, the more powerful systems or different systems we see. The process of understanding the system is in reality in how the fields interact. The field interaction will give you a lot of information. One of these field interactions, can I share the screen please? One of these interactions we see, you're looking in the energy side. One of the main concerns which is reached Keshe Foundation in so many ways in the background is how if you understand the looping, now you see it in the maglev system, how this looping can be used in different applications. One of the things which we have seen and now has become a path of wealth for big organization is certification, patterning different kind of viruses, and then releasing these viruses in a very small quantity, and sometimes it runs out of control, to put fear amongst the nations that now they can sell in billions their products. Before, if you had a flu, they sell you one tablet and million people have to buy a tablet. Now by releasing and maybe killing a few, they force the governments to buy millions of their tablets. This is a new pattern of industrial enforcement, not on individuals, now on government scale. We saw this with Ebola. Now we've seen another version of this in Far East. We've seen designer viruses to force governments to pay huge amounts for the crisis which has been created. We've seen that with a new design patent, and with it we have seen the process with the governments panicking, trying to get their citizens safeguarded, buying huge dosage of antivirus which did not exist, is being released. Now you have to do something with it. Go back to the teaching, and we said this many times. This technology is built for viruses. This technology is tailor-made for viruses. One of the reasons this technology is effective in the cancer, because the cancer is another kind of virus which has a huge power in respect to its environment. And this is why we spoke about the 4 cases that we're going to do international trial. If you look on most of the past 5 years, 10 years, virus breakouts, a few weeks, a few months, a few years earlier, one of the big nationals, multinationals, have suddenly out of nowhere have put a patent in for the virus, which is natural, but the string which they have developed antivirus for to sell billions. But in the space, we don't have multinationals to create viruses. These viruses exist as part of the addition to the attachment to the amino acid, as we've spoken before. What happens? You have a virus or you have an energy pack which itself is recipient, is vulnerable. It has a spectrum of energies which can link with another energy pack which has no amino acid connection, but can connect to the amino acid spectrum. So this becomes a virus. Now, with the understanding of the new system that you have in your hand, which you only need, in most cases, CO2. The CO2 as a gas material, as a magnetic gravitational system, sees the virus as its totality. And a common line of the carbon and a common line of oxygen to lock on gravitational. You remember the law of the gas of the plasma? Very simple. The weaker takes from the stronger, that it can become balanced between the two, and in that process, the effect of virus and connection with the amino acid changes, and you break the bond. And what you're left with, in a way, is your CO2 with the breakage of the bond. So, anytime you see any kind of viruses released, any kind of viruses created, we know the flu has been tested by TEPCO and shown 100% result. We heard it from our Japanese section. We know Chinese have tested different application of it. Now different flu which comes, what a string or whatever, only thing you need is presence of liquid gas of CO2, maybe in 2 large doses, 3 large doses the minute you feel it, and follow it with 3 to 5 days of the same dosage, like 2 or 3 spoons of CO2 gas liquid plasma. Virus should go. You will have most probably the sign of virus inside you for a few days, but the effectiveness of the virus will go. The way we dismantled the operation of manipulation of genetic modification of seeds with GANs, as we've seen, you do the same thing with viruses. Now we see a huge, is Vivek on the line? Vivek, are you in the background? Can you allow him to speak?
Yes, Mr. Kesh, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning, Vivek. Can you explain the situation in your country at the moment and the background to it, please?
Well, on Saturday last week, we heard on the news that there was a confirmed case of Zika virus in Singapore. Within a few hours, that number had increased to 43. And the last that we spoke, that number had gone up to 56. So I haven't been keeping track of it because I've had other things to do in the meantime. But it was a very, very sudden jump from 1 to 43 to 56.
Could you tell us what is the Zika virus?
A Zika virus is carried by the Aedes mosquito, and it was first discovered in, I think, Uganda or somewhere in Africa. That was in the 1950s. From what I understand, in the early days, people caught the Zika virus, they felt sick, they took a few days to recover and everything was okay. But now, it seems that when it affects pregnant women, the babies are being born with deformities.
Is it a modified version of the disease, or is it the same, to your knowledge? Or do we have anybody in the background who can enlighten us more?
I do not have any concrete proof of any modifications.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot say for sure that this is definitely modified.
We are not going to mention the name for reasons you know. But one of the organizations in the very recent past has patent registered a kind of this disease. Am I correct?
Yes.
It's one of the most famous foundation. Has patent out of nowhere, Zika virus, which is a natural product. It's a natural system process virus, and how the patent application form for it, and then we see outburst. We've seen the same thing with Ebola. We've seen the same thing a few other times when one of the multinationals patent things that they give it to be tested and it runs out of control. And then it forces nations, and we see hundreds of thousands of people in some cases get affected, thousands of people die, and the rest of it. We have started a clinical process in assessing these things through the Keshe Foundation arms of research, which means in the coming time we will test these in international laboratories, in the governmental laboratories, and we'll see the effect of and how it is. We see results with HIV, which is a virus. We see results with malaria and the rest of it. What is interesting, when you get any kind of flu, when you get any kind of infection, as a doctor tells you it's a virus, just try. Very simple. The gas liquid of CO2. In some cases, which is very severe, you add 1 to 10 copper oxide, which means you take 10 drops of liquid, you withdraw 1 drop out, and you add 1 drop of copper oxide plasma, and you'll find it very effective. So coincidentally or accidentally, the process of any virus for us is perfect. The beauty with our work is we have to take the opportunities like this to prove that the technology works in deep space. When we can see these kind of viruses which are released into the environment or have been with us and suddenly take hold, if they can be used directly in respect to. My call goes to the farmers. If you have, we've seen this with reporting of several cases. If you have chicken farms, for example, or dog farms, and you do farming of the birds which are vulnerable to these kind of problems, we would like to know what would happen if you add continuously a small amount of CO2 to your system, to the watering system of your birds. Something which is very important for us to take further. We've seen the use of antibiotics heavily in farming with cows. We would like, if you're a farmer, to test, to replace the use of antibiotic with adding of the CO2 plasma gas liquid into the daily water of the animals. Has twofold. First of all, you will not need to use antibiotic. Report back to us. We tell you what it is, and we would like to see that kind of response back. What we see from different trials, it means no need for application and use of hormones and what you call antibiotics. If we can further confirm this closes what is being introducing hormones into the food chain and introduction of bacteria, what we call antibiotics in the part of the food, that now people have become to the point that the antibiotic does not work on them because they receive so much of it through their food chain that body has become immune to antibiotics. Is not that we take so much of it, is that so much is received through the digestion system. With this process, we can create a healthier food, cleaner food, and in a way, when you get a doctor to give you antibiotic, it costs a lot of money from the capital investment point of view, where with a CO2 gas costs you nothing. You can produce it on a continuous basis, you produce one lump sum, and then you can feed it to the cattle. Reduction in application and usage of antibiotics in farming is higher than human. Huge amount of antibiotic is used in the farming, especially what we call in captive farming, which is the animals are kept and imprisoned in boxes all their life. They never see a daylight, so the environment they are is extremely infectious and vulnerable to all sorts of problems. Losing huge number of animals, especially if you're in a bird process, well, like chickens, is a huge loss. I used to have a chicken farm. I know the losses, I know the pain, financial damage to it. There is a disease called Glasgow, which it runs literally like air through the bird, and they go like drunk, and they call it the Glasgow. And these things can be stopped with just application of the gas water. We've seen, we're coming to the winter time, every year they are giving so much injections to the elderly to overcome the winter viruses. Offer to the elderly CO2 in replacement for injections if they want. Because now we see, according to the international reports, the reduction in the effectiveness of the injections they give to elderly because they're becoming immune to it. With the CO2, you cannot become immune to it because it's part of your structure and keeps the balance. So as we enter the winter time, and a lot of elderly look into doctors for injections, influenza and this, take it, but take a CO2 next to it, and you will see the same. We are looking for the application of CO2 in conjunction with a small amount of zinc oxide and a small amount of copper oxide to replace the childhood 3 injections, which creates mayhem in the body of the children. We will put this proposal to governmental structures, and we are now in a position that we can test ourselves. Measles and mumps, where children are given injection, and then we see all the disabilities and everything else which comes with it, the autism and everything else. We think, and we are pretty sure we can prove it, that can be eradicated by using gas materials without any side effect. It needs to be done in a certain way, and it can literally stop the process. We will promote this in the coming time in European help sections, and we'll promote it through the channels which are available to the foundation. So we are looking as a total package development. We are not looking at odd cases. Today's teaching literally goes around this development. The application of GANs materials in respect to viruses. Because in a space, we will not see any more bacteria, or very little, if any, will develop that we cannot handle. And don't forget, bacteria we can handle easily because they're of the lower order. We can use the same process for food infection and all sorts of other things. It's the viruses, which are the energy packs, which will add and link up to the body of the man in a space and cause mayhem. We have a test ground here with the diseases we know, with infectious conditions created by the viruses in attachment to the amino acid body of the man, that we can see the changes. If we can do, if we can see, if we can develop further structure around how much with what, the world of medicine with the viruses gets solved, and we leave the antibiotics to the doctors to prescribe. And what we see as the usage of the balance of the energy environment becomes more prevailing, we will see the reduction in usage of antibiotics. What we would like to see is the same process. Try to use the CO2 to wash your mouth instead of toothpaste. Use the CO2 for washing your mouth. You don't need to spit it out, you can swallow it. But allows you to balance everything in your gum, that stops the tooth decay and everything else, enforces and balances the root into the gum, and can stop a lot of future development of problems and dental problems. In a space, I cannot ship you back to Earth for root treatment. But if I can stop the rotting of the teeth by not allowing the environment for it to be created, accidentally you can break a tooth, but you'll have no diseases with it. If you use and understand this process, you can even remedy that in the coming time. We are looking not for a cure, we are looking for a change of environment that does not allow the changes to take place to begin with. If you remember, in some of the teachings in the past, I explained to you to give block of cheese, a small piece of cheese, to your children or yourself before you go to sleep 3-4 times a week, and you will see no tooth decay. I've become the biggest enemy of the dentist, because dentists know it will work. If you have a dog or a cat or animals in the farm which have a tooth problem, which they have a loss of teeth through these kind of things, all you need to do to add kind of cheese to the diet or CO2 GANs liquid to the diet, and you'll find out the tooth decay will do not exist anymore. It's a natural process, is not a loss. One of the biggest enemy of the body of the man, an increase in cancer, we see through toothpaste. I've explained this process many times. You deplete the body, huge amount released. If the body cannot release the huge amount available, it produces storage, that storage becomes the center for a cancer, and then mayhem in the body of the man. Understand the process. We are not fighting. We are balancing the field forces within the structure of the body of the man. You get a bad infection, flu infection, the first reaction. Within the first hour, take 3 spoons of gases of the plasma of CO2, maybe with a drop of copper oxide gas plasma into it, repeat it 3-4 times in the day for 2-3 days.